Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is gonna be my first video, and it only really made sense to me to do the Booktube Newbie tag as my first video so that I can kind of talk about why I want to be in this environment and in this community. So yeah, I have the questions just down here on my laptop, so I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, so the first question is, why did you start this channel? So I think for me, the reason would be, there's kind of a couple parts to it. First and foremost, I wanted a place that I could just talk about books freely and know that there are many various opinions, and that it's not all gonna be right or wrong, because I know that there are books that I like that other people can't even fathom the idea of reading again or reading fully, but the passion that's behind reading and being in this space, it's all the same. We all have the same passion, just different likes and interests. And the second half was kind of, since I was young, I was always really into watching people's videos and watching vlogs and watching hauls and all of the things that people post on YouTube. And I always thought that it was something that I'd be really interested in trying my hand at and seeing if I could do and seeing if it would be something that I was interested in. And so for me to follow this passion of reading in this avenue, I think that that's sort of why it all came together and why I'm starting a booktube. But yeah, I'm really excited to be in the space, so yeah. So the second question is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to booktube? Because this space is so oversaturated, it's really hard to be coming up with new ideas that haven't already been touched on. And not saying that that's a complete limiter, but I think that the most unique thing that I can bring is my own perspectives and the way that I create content and the way that I frame my content, not necessarily new forms of content, being that hauls and bookshelf tours and talking about books, reviews, and all of those things are already extremely prevalent. So there's not really much I can do in that sense differently than everybody else. However, my opinions will be different, my perspectives will be different. I think that's part of why I want to be on Booktube, is I want to share my life with books, not necessarily books. I want to include my life and books. So exploring with my books, traveling, and talking about the way that the books have impacted me, and really being open about my own perspective and personal experience, because it's really important that it's not just about the books, it's about how they've impacted you and how you feel, and to me anyway. So I think that that's going to be a big part of my booktube, is sort of a mix of booktube and lifestyle content. The next question is, why do I love reading? So my love of reading, I think, really comes from two series in particular, the first of which being Harry Potter. I think that there was nothing more magical for me than Harry Potter. I cannot explain how much that series impacted my life, and it kind of altered the way that I viewed reading and how magical it can be, and just really getting into a space like that, because prior to that I hadn't read a series that followed certain characters the whole way through. And then Twilight as well. I think I remember binging, I can't remember if it was New Moon or Eclipse. I think it was Eclipse. I think I binged that in one single day, and I was like, I was pretty young to be doing that. I do that often now, but at the time it was like, this is so, like, I'm in this world, I want to be part of this world. And I think that that's why I love reading so much, because I feel, while I'm reading, transported away from where I am. Like, I feel very ingrained in what's happening in the book, almost the same emotions. And I think that that's a big part of why a good writer can captivate a reader so well, because of the way that they can invoke emotion. Which is also why another reason why I love reading, because it's really fun to examine the way that a writer captivates the reader. So the next question is, what book or series got you into reading? I started out so young that it's hard to really pinpoint a starting point of why I like reading, but the one that really captivated me the most was Harry Potter, as I said in the last question. And the ability to just be transported into a world like that was something I had never experienced before and couldn't get enough of. And now that I'm getting back into reading after taking years and years and years off of reading, books like A Court of Thorns and Roses and Fourth Wing right there, those books that captivate you and keep you in the world for so long feel so magical and kind of just bring me back to my childhood. And so that's what got me into reading and reading again. Was, I think, Fourth Wing was one of my first back into reading. Yeah. What question? So the question is, what question would you want to ask your favorite booktuber? I would ask, what was the point that initially brought you into reading? What was the character? What was the book? What was the author? Like, I would love to know what made people love reading. I know that is kind of a question in here, but I would love to just have an hours-long conversation talking about why somebody was brought into the world of reading and why they stayed. So the next question is, what challenges of starting a new booktube channel do you think will be the hardest to overcome? I think for me, the hardest part about starting a booktube channel will be just like the confidence of having to talk right to a camera. I have a lot to say about books and a lot to say about reading and being in this community, so I think that it's worth struggling with that piece of confidence to be in the space and talk about my passion like this. So it's worth putting myself out there. I want to put myself out there. I think that it's something that I need to do. But that's, I think, what's going to be the hardest part, is overcoming a little step of confidence in sitting in front of a camera, for example. The next question is, when did you start reading? I think as soon as I could start reading, or as soon as I could read, I was reading. There was one specific picture book that I remember knowing all the words to, and so I would read it again and again. I would read it to my little brother. I would read it to anybody who would listen to me. So, like, my love for reading has always been there. But when did I start reading novels? Probably 9 or 10, I would say. The next question is, where do you read? Anywhere that I can sit or stand and hold a book. Anywhere, like anywhere. But my favorite places are my couch. I like reading in my car, actually. And at the gym. I love to bring my Kindle to the gym. Even if I'm reading a paperback book, I will still have a Kindle book going so that I can read it when I'm at the gym. But yeah, I'll walk on the treadmill for half an hour and read my book, and it's amazing. And it passes the time, and I get to read. So it's like, it's perfect. But that being said, part of this channel is I want to explore with my books and read wherever I can find cafes and pretty views, and like go places and read and document that. So I think that that'll be an interesting little maybe series that I do on this channel, so that I can share my adventures and the books that I read on my adventures. I think that would be pretty fun. And the last question is what kinds of books do you like to read? That I'm only really getting back into reading, so I don't know fully what my favorites are. I love romance. I'm very slowly getting into fantasy, but I'm reading the A Court of Thorns and Roses series right now, and that is crazy good. I am so obsessed with these books. It's slowly becoming a new favorite like genre, fantasy. I can't explain how much I'm loving these books. So I think that that's really gonna take over. The romantic-y kind of thing. I also am really into the mystery kind of thriller ones. I'm not a huge fan of horror, but that's only because I don't like jump scares. So I wonder if a book would be any different. Let me know if you are the same type of person who doesn't really love horror movies or like jump scares or anything like that, but really are into horror books, because if I can read a horror book, That would be kind of fun, I think. I don't have a specific genre that I'm only doing. I don't want to cut myself off from liking any other genre. I want to branch out, so if you have any recommendations from any genre, any book from any genre, I would love to hear some recommendations so that I can get some new books on my TBR that are not just romance fantasy kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Booktube newbie tag. I would love to answer any more questions, so if you have any, drop them in the comments. If you have any recommendations, also drop them in the comments. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my other social medias. They're on the screen and linked down below. Thank you. Bye.